Mysterious archaeological discoveries in China. Hey everyone, it's Alexa again, and welcome back to another video. China is a treasure trove when it comes to archaeological discoveries, some made by sheer accident and others that have been planned and executed by a team of professionals, each discovery teaching us more about ancient civilizations and dynasties of the past. But before we get into today's video, make sure that you're subscribed and ring the bell so that you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Peking Man Skull. One of the most well-known archaeological discoveries in China is the Peking Man Skull, which was discovered by Chinese paleontologist He Wangzhong in 1929. The site that was being excavated was Zhongshan, and he found the skull on Dragon Bone Hill. The skull is said to be a strong indication that human evolution is real, and confirms evidence brought forward by Charles Darwin in the previous century. It's been called the most significant and appealing discovery in human history. The Peking Man is thought to be 500,000 years old. Maba Man. This pre-modern hominid was discovered in 1958, and the skull was tucked away inside caves near the town of Maba, which is part of the Guangdong province. The skull was badly damaged, which brought writer James Owen of National Geographic to believe that this could be the earliest evidence of human aggression. The skull is believed to be 126,000 years old, and the way it had healed proved that his peers cared for him after the injury, despite the fact that he was more than likely brain damaged. Oracle bone inscriptions. Also known as Jia Gu Wen, these ancient Chinese symbols have been carved into tortoise shells and animal scapulae. They were used during the Shang dynasty between 1300 BC and 1946 BC, and kept a record of events during that time and were used in divination. They were discovered in 1899 and are believed to be some of the earliest forms of Chinese writings ever discovered. The bones have been traced to the Henan province, and as many as 150,000 bone inscriptions have been discovered. The tomb of Marquis Yi of Zhang. This important archaeological site dates to around 433 BC and is one of the few Chinese tombs to have been discovered intact. It's located in current-day Hebei, China. Inside the tomb were the remains of Marquis Yi. The tomb brought forward 4 chambers, and inside was the lacquered double coffin of the Marquis, coffins belonging to 8 young women, and a coffin for his dog. There were weapons, a chariot, musical instruments, and a large set of bronze bells, which the site is well known for. The Dunhuang manuscripts. In the early 20th century, a Taoist monk discovered these manuscripts in a sealed cave in the Magao caves of Dunhuang, China. After 7 years of holding on to them, he began selling them off to Western explorers. Some of them went to the Japanese, Russians, and the Danish. The manuscripts date from the 5th to the early 11th century and include a variety of works covering topics like math and history, song, and dance. Many of these works have been stolen, never to be seen again. The Jing Ling Hwa culture. Archaeological digs have not only unearthed objects, but they have uncovered entire cultures and civilizations, just like the Jing Ling Hwa culture. This Neolithic culture was active between 6200 and 5400 BC and was located at the Inner Mongolia border. What this site brought forward was signs of communal planning, as at one of the sites the houses were in rows. Many of the homes had ditches surrounding them. These homes also had hearths at their centers. Burials in the area were also unusual, as many bodies were found buried underneath the houses. At this site, plenty of jade objects were discovered. This discovery is the only site of this culture that showed evidence of agriculture and millet remains. The Jing Ling Hwa are thought to be descendants of the Tungusic people of today. Jing Ling Tun. This is the mausoleum of the 13th Ming Emperor Zhu Yijun and his 2 empresses. To visit, you need to head to the southern foot of Tianshou Mountain in Beijing. He occupied the throne for 48 years. The tomb covers 44 acres and took 6 years to build. What makes this tomb unique is that it's the only tomb from the Ming Dynasty that's been opened. The underground palace brought forward 3,000 priceless relics, including the gold empress crown, glowing pearl, and tricolored pottery from the Ming Dynasty. The Liangzhu culture. Another culture to be discovered in the Yangtze River Delta of China was the Liangzhu culture from 3400 to 2250 BC. It was the last Neolithic jade culture, and jade, silk, and ivory were found buried with the elite, while the poorer people were buried with pottery. Between 2009 and 2013, a team of researchers used archaeological samples and technology and tried to work out how the people managed their water in the Yangtze Delta. They believe they found the markings of the world's oldest and largest known hydraulic engineering projects. They claim it would have taken 3,000 people 10 years to put this hydraulic system in place. Tombs of Han at Manchang. It's one of the top 10 archaeological discoveries in China of the 20th century, and these tombs were built for King Liu Shang and his wife. They were discovered in 1968 in today's Minjeong County, Hebei Province. The tombs were so well preserved and brought forward many treasures. There were 2,700 burial objects, including bronze and iron objects, gold and silver items, jade, chariots, pottery, and silk fabric. There were 2 sets of complete jade clothing sewn with gold thread. There's the famous Changshan Palace lantern and a gold inlaid furnace. All these finds proved how advanced the Western Han Dynasty were. Jing Wan Ship. The remains of this Chinese warship, Jing Wan, were discovered by archaeologists in 2018. The ship was sunk by the Japanese Navy during the Sino-Japanese War. Among the wreck, they found relics made from glass, leather, porcelain, and iron. Mawangdui Han Tombs. We head to the eastern suburbs of Changsha, Hunan Province, and visit the Mawangdui Han Tombs that were discovered in 1971. There are 3 tombs dating back 2,100 years to the Western Han Dynasty. Inside were the remains of Marquis Yi and his family, as well as their prized possessions. The items taken from the tomb have given a lot of insight into how the wealthy and sophisticated lived during that time. The tomb of King Kuo of Zhongshan. King Kuo of Zhongshan reigned the state for 15 years. He inherited the state from his father. During his short reign, he doubled the size of his territory. His tomb is in Sanji Pingshan, Hebei, China. Farmers were the first to come across a large river rock during the 1940s and 1950s, bearing archaic characters. They kept the rock for several decades until the early 70s, when local artifact administrators heard of the rock and went to investigate it. The inscriptions were done by 2 men, a servant and fisherman, who were around during the king's life and guarded his tomb after his death. They found the tomb, which contained the remains of King Kuo, and amongst the treasures were a yellow jade pendant with Kui dragons designed on it. Hemudu Site. Found in Hemudu village is the Hemudu Site. It was accidentally discovered by farmers in 1973 when they were trying to install drainage systems. It's a massive site covering 10,000 acres and boasts cultural relics that are 4 meters or 13 feet thick. There are 4 cultural layers overlapping each other, with the oldest layer dating back 6,000 to 7,000 years ago. Minjeong River Treasure. This Chinese river is said to be filled with treasure. There's a legend that says during a peasant revolt, a 100-boat convoy went down the river. The ships were carrying gold, and they were ambushed with the cargo sinking to the bottom of the river during battle. Believed to be a myth, in 2005, a crew were working on the banks of the river and found ingots of silver stuck in the gravel. Archaeologists quickly took over the area and found 10,000 artifacts of silver and gold and other valuables. It's now believed that the battle did happen, and there may be even more treasure waiting to be found. Liu Ball Game. There is a huge, elite tomb that lies near Qingzhou City. Looters have pillaged the tombs of its treasures over the past 2,300 years, but failed to see the value of a game that was left behind. When experts entered the tomb in 2004, they found the game called Bo, or Lobo. It was initially in pieces, but once repaired, the game showed images of clouds and lightning, a pair of eyes in the center, and 21 tokens. The rules are not known, but it's believed to be a 2-player game where points were earned and somehow a king piece played an important part. The origin of polo. History dictates that the equestrian game of polo came from Persia around 2,600 years ago. However, archaeologists were exploring the Yanghai tombs in the northwest, which is between 2,400 and 2,800 years old, and found some sporting equipment that could change that theory. They found 8 long sticks, believed to be the first ever polo sticks. There were 3 balls made from sheepskin surrounding tightly packed leather and wool. Inside the tombs were the bodies of fair-skinned and light-haired people, called the Subeishi. The Subeishi gave up on the nomadic lifestyle and became herders. They were instrumental in setting up the famous Silk Road and were well known for their horsemanship. It's not surprising that maybe they were the forerunners of polo. Which of these findings do you think are the most incredible? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. 1. Dragon fossil. This discovery could potentially rewrite the history of evolution. Dubbed the dragon fossil, these could possibly be the biggest animals to ever roam Earth. The species name translates to amazing dragon from Linghui, named after the area where the fossils were discovered. The dinosaur is thought to have been 57 feet long, and a close relative of the Diplodocus and Brontosaurus. Paleontologist Paul Upchurch believes that this finding shows that advanced sauropods may have been on Earth much earlier than we originally thought. They would have needed a warm, wet environment full of vegetation to survive. That's according to the Chinese Academy of Sciences.